Okay. I saw these nice people struggling. Yeah, there's a spot over here too. I'm gonna give them a ride home. So this lady ended up being Mormon. I go to church with her dad. I felt totally prompted to help them. I'm glad I stopped and helped. I never stop unless God tells me to, and I am so glad that I did. She's Mormon. So let me tell you this story. Driving, I had a half hour. I went and got myself some breakfast because I'm actually starving today. I'm not usually hungry, but I went and dropped off Bella for a church thing. I came back, and as I was driving back from getting my breakfast, there was this poor guy dragging literally 6 bags behind him. And I was like, oh my gosh. And immediately my heart was like, I've been there. I've been dragging all that crap before. Go and help that person. And I was like, that's a dude. I'm a girl. I don't know if that person's safe. And I never stop unless it's like a mom and children. This is really bouncy. But I stopped. And when I pulled in, I turned around and I went back because I had a half hour, and I'm like, I'm going to figure out how far they're going. Surely they're not going too far with all those bags. So I grabbed, I rolled down my window, and by the time I got there was a lady with him they were arguing, and I stopped. I said, how far are you guys going? They said, we're just going down to the park. I said, well, do you want to ride? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. So I prayed before I stopped. I said, God, look, I'm going to help these people, but I need you to keep me safe. I never do this, but I feel like you're telling me to do this. And I stopped, and I asked them if they wanted to ride, and they were like, oh, yes. And we just had a 15-minute conversation about who they are, what they're doing. They're taking care of their dad for a while, who had 2 strokes, who I know from church. And it's just, they're in a hard situation. You know, they left everything to come help their father who had strokes and stuff, and they can't get back on their feet since they helped. It's just hard to get back to that, and literally it's going down to like -10 starting next week, and they're staying at a park with nothing but their bags and blankets. So if anyone has a tent or anything that can keep them warm, I just dropped them off at the food pantry to get some food. But if anybody in town has an old tent that they can donate, please reach out and let me know. Because I don't want these poor people to freeze. She's recovering from some frostbite, being in Denver outside and all of that stuff. You know, sometimes you just can't get out of the hole. And I'm really glad I stopped, and I'm really glad I paid attention to that prompting. So, there you go. I know this sounds stupid, but I am just so touched by God using me that way. Sorry. I just feel like I'm such a nobody, such a little sickly nobody that just hides in her home. And when I leave the house, God allowing me to be used in that way and keeping me safe and being able to help that couple was just so touching to me. It just reiterates that God knows who needs help and how to help them. I mean, it's so random that I would pick up a couple that happens to be of my exact same religion, whose father actually goes to church with me, who it's just so touching.